And what up everybody's animation here, welcome to part 4 of What If Deku Stayed Quirkless, and now, let's get to the intro.
I'm not the one you wanna fuck with. Late nights messing up my sleep, so I'm flustered. Taking out aggression with my pen because I trust it. Right in front of get myself a lamb color cust for the game. Leave him hanging by his chain, click bang. Feeling rage, feeling fire in my brain, feel insane. And it's slowly feeling flames with the fire from my brain. Bringing more still, no glory.
Okay guys, last time we left off, we just finished the USJ arc, and it was 1 week later, or 1 week after the USJ arc, and Deku just woke up after being healed by the recovery girl. Deku is basically being told that after 1 week there is a sports festival and you have to train for that. So Deku just realizes he wasted an entire week of training, so he's like, okay, I need to train this week and train double the amount of training. So before he had 600 kilograms of weights on his arms, legs, and his body. So now he's gonna basically bump it up to 1,000 kilograms. Actually, no. Let's actually retcon the previous part, or the previous end part, and let's say he goes up to 800. Okay, 800 is good enough. I think 1,000 is somewhere like where he's somewhere training in the forest training camp. I think that's the weight he's gonna be when he's gonna be at the forest training camp. So someone actually commented a really good training schedule for Deku. Not a training schedule, I forgot his name, but he commented that the limit breaker technique that I basically introduced last time, or last part, of Deku basically unlocking or basically breaking his limits on his body and basically going past them. So somebody suggested that he should basically turn on 1 times of that limit breaker and basically keep it on forever and for like 1 week straight, and he would get used to it. So his limit breaker times 2 would feel like it's times 1 with less strain on him, but he would have a stronger and be faster, and his bones, it's like a last resort. His bones will become stronger with this training because his body will get stronger and used to the limit breaker technique. But as soon as he goes into the second times, or times 2, that is when he's gonna basically injure himself a lot, and that is exactly what it would be like Deku in the actual sports festival, where he was actually injuring himself to actually create wind shockwaves or something like that to basically fight Todoroki. But remember, that is going to be the last resort of Deku. For example, if he's versing somebody really strong like Bakugo, Todoroki, or some other person who has a really strong quirk like those two, that is the situation where he's probably going to be using his limit breaker power. So after a week, basically the sports festival is starting. Let's actually skip over after the basically orientation, where they basically say everything. The basically representative of class 1A basically arrives there, basically says a speech and stuff. Let's skip all that and go to the race, or obstacle race again, and basically everybody's getting ready. The Midnight basically explains everything that happens in the race, all the different obstacles, and she also explains the rules. And let's move on. So President Mike basically says 3, 2, 1. Everybody rushes out there. Todoroki activates his eyes, completely freezing everybody's feet and into the tunnel, and only a few people actually got out of there because only the people that know Todoroki. So maybe some of the class 1B, some of the general students like Shinsho, and most of the class 1A, or maybe all of the class 1A students, and that includes Deku. Deku basically storms out there, beating Todoroki instantly. Todoroki is not that good at physical basically training compared to Deku. I mean, he's amazing, his stamina is good, he was doing physical training in his 2 weeks of training. But Deku is like the master in it. That's his thing, you know? So he basically passes and blitzes Todoroki and this is before he actually created that giant ice pillar to basically destroy the 0-point robot. So Deku's already blitzed him and basically went past the robots already, and Todoroki just took care of the robots. So Deku is probably already halfway towards the second obstacle, and the first obstacle was the 0-point robots, by the way. Everyone in the crowd is like, whoa, that kid's so fast. And basically President Mike explains that this kid doesn't really have a quirk, or President Mike doesn't know that. Aizawa or President Mike would ask him, well, does he have like a speed quirk or something? Aizawa said, No, you might be surprised at what I tell you, but this kid is Quirkless. And President Mike is shocked. He's like, this kid, Izuku Midoriya, who's in the lead right now, #1 in the obstacle race, is Quirkless. And everybody in the crowd and basically everyone basically says like, what, a Quirkless kid in a hero school? What is he doing there? And how is he so fast? And basically Aizawa gets up to the mic and says, well, we don't really have a rule or law against Quirkless people actually becoming heroes. He is the first person to actually strive to become a hero, even if he's Quirkless. He's trained his body to a point where he can have superhuman strength and superhuman speed. So everybody's like, oh wait, isn't that the Quirkless kid? And I actually forgot that Deku actually announced himself to the world that he's going to be the first Quirkless hero. I forgot about that. So basically they're not surprised, like, oh, that's a Quirkless kid. And Deku, or Aizawa basically explains the backstory of Deku. He told everyone that he's like a martial arts master. He's amazing at physical combat or close combat, and he's also really strong because of his training regimen. And his training regimen is really tough and strong, because if a lot of people, compared to All Might, they even find it hard, and I even found it hard. So his training schedule is monstrous. So I would say Deku has somewhere close to Asta's body. He's like, has like giant shoulders, giant pecs, but he's not that short, so he doesn't really look that buff or bulky. But because Asta was short, that's why he looked bulky. But if you basically stretch Asta out, he'll probably look like somewhere close to Yuno's size or thinness, but he was still, you can still see muscles. So Deku at this point is probably reaching the first or the second obstacle course, which is the Grand Canyon, and basically he just jumps. He jumps and basically lands on the rope and uses the rope's momentum upwards, basically pushing himself over the canyon and basically going above it or passing it only with like 2 jumps. So everybody's surprised at the balance this kid has. Not only did he jump from a really fast and awkward position, but he also landed on the rope and used the rope as momentum in a short while, and that happened in like only in a few seconds. It was like a blur or something, but a lot of people saw it, and basically he got through it, and everybody was really amazed at how skilled this kid is. So now Deku's still running. He's running and running, and when he gets halfway across and he's halfway towards the minefield or the last obstacle, Todoroki just made it towards the Grand Canyon, and he tries to do the same thing Deku did, but he doesn't really have the physical feats or attributes to do that. So he's like, I'm not gonna even try and make myself look like a fool. So he basically does the same thing that he did in canon and basically throws the the string or the rope and basically sliding on it. So by this time, once he's halfway through the Grand Canyon, Deku's already at the minefield, and he's like, what is a good way to basically get through this or over it? And what is a good way? He's basically standing there and thinking, and he's like, what should I do? And then he's like, okay, who cares? I'll just run faster than the mines can explode. So he basically starts running, gets in a running position and starts running at full speed, and he's really fast, and he's basically passing all the mines, and behind them there's like this huge explosions or huge line of explosions behind him, and they're not catching up to him until the last one, where he basically steps on a mine on purpose, basically propelling himself in front and basically doing aerial combat or aerial maneuvering and basically positioning himself in front of his basically finish line. So he runs in there, comes first place, and by this time Todoroki just cleared the second stage or the canyon. Now at this point, Bakugo has probably already catched up to Todoroki, and he's basically flying at him with his explosions. Todoroki knows that he can basically fly over him, so he starts basically getting serious and starts using his ice a lot. So Bakugo and Todoroki are basically going at it. They're neck to neck, and they're pretty close, and they end up getting a tie in second place. So let's move on to the Cavalry Battle. Deku doesn't really have a team, because he not only has the biggest target in the entire school or in the sports festival, but he doesn't really have a quirk, so people don't really know his abilities. And they don't really want to go up to him. So basically Uraka, she's a friend, so she basically goes up to Deku. Then he basically asks Tokoyami, and Hatsume basically approaches Deku and saves his life because they were missing one teammate, and she offers to join their team. Then she basically shows them their babies, or her babies, and basically her gadgets and all that stuff she created, and they're really impressive. He's like, okay, we can use this and it'll be a good advantage. So their main priority is basically to stay out of everybody's way and get out of everybody's way, and a lot of people are actually confident to basically charging into the battle with Deku's team, because it's led by a Quirkless loser, and that's basically what they think, but he still got number 1 in the spot. So basically when they tried to attack, Deku just used his physical strength, jumped on their team, and basically attacked them and stole their headband, and basically jumped on their team back again. And basically this happened again and again until a lot of teams basically charged at them. Deku used his blood binding technique to bind them and scare all of the teammates, and this actually affected every single person that was actually targeting their team. Everybody knows that this kid's scary, I'm gonna stay away from him, because they sense of bloodlust. They know what will happen if they actually attack him, they're gonna get killed. And they kind of see this like imaginary image, like how basically Sasuke and Sakura saw a image of them basically seeing a kunai in their head when they saw Orochimaru in the Forest of Death. So that's exactly what every single person sees over there, so they know how they're gonna die if they step in and basically attack them. So everybody just stops going after them and basically gets away from them. And Hatsume and Tokoyami and also Uraka ask him what was that move, and he basically explains what blood binding is, and while they're moving around, by the way. So they eventually basically come first place. They get a 10 million points. First place, Deku or Izuku Midoriya, and now do the one-on-one tournament in the next part. Sorry guys, because I've been rambling a lot and I've been focusing on a little too much detail, but don't worry about it. I'll basically do the one-on-one fight with Deku in the next part. So I hope you guys like, because it really does help the channel out. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and as always, Anime Junkie out.